Everyone, welcome back to Music, Mind and Well-Being. And of course, we have Nick from No Halo. We started our conversations last week. So if you don't know who we are, go back and listen. And don't forget to click the like and subscribe as we get into this conversation of challenges. Nick, do a quick introduction of who you are.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Like Ann said, if you didn't catch our full intro, go back and watch the last week's episode. Make sure to share it with somebody who you think might be able to benefit from it. But my name is Nico Morales. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I own the business called No Halo because my theory and now application is that you weren't created to be a perfect little angel. It's okay to have no halo.
I know, and I say it every week. Oh my goodness, I'm not an angel. Music, Mind and Well-Being is all about music. We are the music. We are the sound. We are the frequency. We are the mind, everything you think, act or do. And obviously the well-being, because really and truly, we need to take care of ourselves. We don't do that. So let's jump straight into it. Overcoming challenges. I mean, you know, where you need that self-awareness, you need strategy to overcome. So talk to me, Nick, about a challenge, because I know today has been interesting for you.
Yeah. So for me, challenge, I have to reframe them in my head, regardless of what the challenge is, whether it's an external challenge or internal challenge, whether it's an environmental challenge or a people challenge, because that's kind of how I group them. Is this something going on internally that's making it challenging? Is this something going on externally that's making it challenging? And is it the environment that I'm in do I need to be in there, or is it the people that I'm around that's making it challenging? Because we are called to be in a community, and you have to enjoy people to the best of your ability. And full transparency, I hate people's behavior. I cannot stand people's behavior. I love people, but I cannot stand their behaviors. And it's very difficult for me not to speak my mind when I see those situations arise. So that's where I usually come up with challenges. And I've learned over my years that I'm going to say it a little bit bluntly, but idiots don't listen. So why waste your time in continuing to repeat things to them? Sometimes it's best just to keep your mouth shut. So that's how I deal with people. How do you deal with people when they're challenging?
Many times I have done the same thing, right? In the past, way in the past, it used to be, right, speak your mind, don't worry about it. You know, it's like their amygdala will deal with whatever it needs to deal with in the way that it needs to deal with it. And I was forthright and off. But now I have a level of empathy that when I see someone's behavior, when you have told me who you are, I will believe you. I really, really will. And it's true. If someone doesn't want to listen, you don't have to continually repeat it. You wait until such a time as they catch up and they do want to listen. It's not everybody that's going to reach out at the same time and meet at the same point. So really and truly, I know what you're saying, you can't stand certain behavior. There is a behavior where people get stuck, and you're advising, we both do this, on how to help them become unstuck. And you've given one piece of advice, and that could really flip the switch for them. But 1 year later, it's still the same. So you can't be running after absolutely everybody. One of the things that when a challenge occurs, and I've talked about it many times, is negative thoughts, right? Because people come with negative thoughts, and sometimes they're not even aware that they've attributed a lot of things to a person, a situation. They have particular thought patterns. So I have to be aware of that and then understand, okay, so let me just advise them, are they consciously doing this, or is it subconscious? Are they fighting a fort? What do they need to focus on? Aha, right, I've seen that strength. Let's focus on that more rather than the negative. So what do you spot in people when, sometimes you see a challenging behavior?
That's a great question. When I see a challenging behavior, I do my best to factor in the unknowns. The way that I've learned to do it in my head is I'll use driving as an example.
Okay.
Uh, Someone cuts me off or drives erratically or speeds through a red light. um, I usually factor in the unknowns. Maybe I don't know where they're headed, and I come up with this makeshift story in my head to be able to extend out grace to them. So, oh man, you know what? Their child might be in a difficult spot. So, getting to their child is the most important thing to them. And that's why they ran the light. That's why they cut me off. That's why they're driving erratically. Might be, hey, you know what, they're in a dire situation and they have to use the restroom. They don't want to use a public restroom. I'll
Mm,
sometimes come up with something comical in my head just to alter my mind state towards that individual, because I don't have control over them. I don't have
that's right.
control over what they're doing, but I do have control over the thoughts that I have around the situation. And as we both know, your thoughts create your emotions, and your emotions create your actions. So if you can control your thoughts, you can control your emotions. If you can control your emotions, and you can control your actions. So I tend to either make it comical or I tend to make it very drastic in my head so that I can show some sort of grace, empathy towards that individual. Because I used to keep pennies in my center console, and I pull up next to them and throw pennies at their car, just because that's I took it personally. Let's put it that way.
Oh my days. I can see that and understand that. And when you were giving the restroom example, um, I have a friend who they have, I will call it a bag, if you understand.
Mhm.
It's a colostomy bag. Yeah. Right. Now, so when they urgently do need to go, they do need to go. And it's, they are focused on, let me get home generally, because truly sometimes it's a case of you don't want to be going to a public restroom. Although over here in the UK, we have the first aid rooms where first aid rooms, we have the physically impaired bathrooms, and literally, if you were to say to one of the staff why you need to use it, there's usually not a problem. But sometimes, yeah, someone rushing home. So I understand that, using, the car analogy. One of the examples that I give with a challenge and someone being challenging is the fact of, I've talked about someone being stuck, right? So someone's come and they've said to you, oh gosh, I was working on this and I really couldn't figure out how to get to the next level or the next situation in what I was doing. And this applies not just to work, but in their home life, in their personal life. So one of the things that I'd actually say to them, have you actually set any kind of realistic goal regarding that? Oh yeah, we've got to get it done by this time, or I need to do that. And they'll go with the end. And I'll say to them, but did you break it down into smaller chunks, into manageable, that your brain will actually be able to deal with that thing one step at a time? So amazingly enough, someone dealing with a challenge, actually doing the reverse engineering and then getting to the smallest common denominator that they can deal with immediately, because like you said, it's what you can control. You don't worry about what you can't control. It's all what you can control. So I get them to break it down into the smallest chunks so that they can move and get to the bigger goal. By the time they've got to the bigger goal, light bulb's gone on. They're like, wow, how did that happen? I'm like, you just followed some steps that are very common. But I want you to talk about at the moment, Nick, because I think this is key to overcoming challenges. It's practicing that self-compassion, how you are treating yourself. How would you go about explaining that to the people?
Mm. So I'm honestly very hard on myself. So for me, one of the challenges that I have is not meeting certain tasks by certain times. And I used to just chuck the whole day away. If I didn't get up at a specific time of day, then my whole day was gone. It was a waste. I wasn't going to do anything else.
Mm.
But using that same scenario, what I've learned is that, hey, you're not in your 20s anymore. Your body may need some more rest, and that's okay. You still do workouts, you still stay very active, and mentally you use a lot of skills in certain days. That was actually my
Absolutely.
problem this morning. I spent
Okay.
yesterday, added on a new workout to my routine, and my body was just like, hey, what the heck do you think you're doing? So
Yeah.
this morning, when I woke up, the alarm went off. I went off and I turned off the alarm. And I just sat there and I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. And I laid back down for a moment, thinking I'll just close my eyes for a second. And that second lasted about 3 more hours.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so
Good couple of cycles.
yeah. So getting up after that, I looked at the time and I was like, what the heck did you do, dude? You just wasted all this normal time that you have. And the compassion was, hey, you know what? Your body needed this because you pushed it a little bit further. So now you got to compensate. You didn't add on the hours on the upfront. Your body required them on the back end. And
Absolutely.
there are certain things that still need to get done.
Mm.
That's 1000% accurate. But understanding that, hey, prioritize them now, right? Like your body got the rest that it needed so that you could actually be completely uh, focused. You could be present where you're at, because that's a lot of my work, is being present and not letting my brain go into 5 different places. Um,
Absolutely.
and having just that moment of, you know what, it's okay. It's not the worst mistake that you've made in your life. You've overcome a lot of other poor mistakes, poor decisions, poor choices. So we'll just put this one in that poor choice. And from this moment on, you're going to do the best that you can. And that's difficult
Absolutely.
for me because it's not a common trait of mine.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. But you see, you took it, and what you did was make a decision that, you know what, I'm going to treat myself the way I really want to be treated. So I'm going to go to bed. I am going to have that rest. You may have I know you had that conversation when you woke up, as we all do. But there are times when we need the compassion, when we need to be so kind to ourselves. I mean, that kindness is it's a real thing that we have to understand, right? Because we would offer that same compassion to a friend or a client. Maybe you need rest. Maybe your body is saying to you, you need rest. The minute it comes to us, sometimes we're not offering ourselves that same level of compassion. So be gentle with ourselves is highly recommended. And I say build in some self-compassion, build in some self-care. Do you have a moment in the day so that you know that you're going to be in that moment of self-care, self-compassion? Is there something you do on a daily basis that takes you there?
It's a great question. I just want to add on real fast that what you had just said, we'll do it for a lot of other people, but we won't do it for ourselves. Um, that's an ego problem.
Yeah.
That really is that's an ego issue.
Yeah.
Um, because you believe that you're above others, you believe that you shouldn't have to follow some of the same natural laws that everybody else has to. So I just want to highlight that if you are willing to give compassion to other people, but so hard on yourself, it's because you have a larger ego, and you might want to check that. To answer
Mm,
your question, yes, there's a routine that I have every morning. And regardless of the time that I wake up, I implement that routine. And part of that routine is I believe that in order to do self care, you have to do self reflection, because
mhm,
self care doesn't mean, hey, I'm just going to go to the gym. Hey, I'm going to take this rest. That's activities, but those activities may not benefit your specific need for self care.
that's right.
So in my world, I do self reflection in the morning.
Hmm.
I write down some things that I regretted about the previous day. I write
Hmm.
out some things that I was grateful about the previous day. Then
Hmm.
I transition into what do I expect from today
Hmm.
and what is my definition of success. Once I
Hmm.
can identify those four things, I then can implement the self care. So not only is it just taking the time to write this stuff out so I can be aware of it and I can go back and look whenever I'm feeling really sorrowful about myself, feeling really pitiful about myself. I can go back and look at my journals and be like, hey, look what you've done. Look how well you have grown. But in the afternoons, I do a second workout, and that second workout is usually my time for just, hey, did you do what you needed to do today? Did you, would the person that you're becoming, would they be proud of the work that you did today? Regardless of when it
Mm.
was done, how it was done, would the person that's going to be living tomorrow, living next month, living next year be proud of the stuff that you're doing today? And that for me is the best self care that I could offer myself, because I'm not just taking care of the present me, but I'm also taking care of the future of me too.
You know what? I love that because, gosh, I've taught on that so many times. And I want to just dial it back for a minute where you brought up the ego. Let us not forget, just before we even get to the ego, we're going to the id, our primitive and instinctual part. Because for a lot of people, that is actually the default setting. Their default setting, they go back to, the pleasure principle. What is that immediate pleasure principle? What is that self-seeking gratification of the basic needs before they even get to working out of in their rational and conscious of what they should be doing, right? So it's moving. A lot of people will move between the two because some decisions they don't want to make that self-reflection. They don't want to be, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll go and scroll on one of, let me not name anything, I'll go and scroll social media, right? Before they know it, instant gratification, see the likes, whatever, conversations, they're back in id mode, primitive pleasure principle. And for all of us, I really do believe that it's simply a case of where we are doing things like self-reflection, which is a wonderful thing. And I absolutely adore self-reflection. At the end of the day, I do mine. I think I've told you before, don't do it in the morning. But the vision, having your vision for the day, if mine isn't congruent with everything I do, in alignment with the vision that I have, the legacy vision that I have of the future for my day, I'm dialing it back and thinking, hold on a second, why? Why is that not in alignment? And I'm staying with staying with the ego and the id, etc. Is it in alignment with my morals, right? And my values and all of my social norms, what we would generally call the super ego. Is it really in line with everything that I believe that I am becoming, that I am now, that I am being? And this is something for people to really sit and think about. Not enough people spend time thinking. Children are amazing Have you like watched a young child play? Absolutely, right?
Yes.
Sometimes they just sit there and then suddenly their imagination, this, they play with this, that, and the other. And then I love it. They make up words or they'll put words together because this place, this village, this town has then become to them a world. But we don't sometimes as adults do that because all of our past is absolutely influencing our present. Yet taking time to reflect can actually influence us right now. And it definitely causes us to be more creative. What areas speak to you about that?
That we need to be more like children. A lot of us lose our childlike imagination because we remember the instances. Let me put it this way: the individual that sits here now, the individual that was 10 years ago, that 10-year ago version would be laughing at this individual because there's like no point. It was what the 23-year-old Nico would say. Whereas this individual is just like, you know what? I don't care what others believe. I don't care what others think in regards to my vision. I'm going to achieve it because that's my gift. I didn't come up with it. It's my gift. Yeah. So to be more childlike allows me to explore, use my will, use my creativity, use my imagination, use the faculties that separate me from every other thing on this planet. Because animals can't imagine, animals can't be creative, animals can't have willpower, animals can't want better for themselves. They do exactly what they're built to do, and they move off of that primitive state that you're talking about.
You know what, I love it because we could really dive deeper into that, but you know what, we're going to leave it there because I really believe we'll just go right into another rabbit hole and another one after that, and we're saving it for other conversations. But man, this has been really good. Guys, if in any way this is really helping you, please put it into the comments, share, like, tell your friends that these conversations are happening on a Tuesday, because I am posting them every single Tuesday, guys. So literally reach out and let the community know. The Music, Mind and Wellbeing, I know you dialed in here, but dial into the No Halo community. We both have challenges out there that are going to change the way you think, truly. From the male community, I know for Nick, a lot of guys doing things with good things with him. And for me, I tell you, if you are stuck and you really want to go to the next level, I'm here for it. I'm really here to get you thinking in a different way. But Nick, this has been a great conversation.
It has been. And I hope that people do take advantage of the other opportunities. This is just a small taste. This is your free sample, because these type of conversations happen so often, so frequently, especially within my community. I know within your community, you get to spend a lot more time diving deeper with them. So I hope that you take some of these nuggets and decide to buy the whole meal.
Oh, love that. And we will conclude right there. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you, and we will see you next Tuesday.